everything that they're spewing just sounds to me like they are trying to soften what is natural to most men. And it is very natural for most men to explore themselves in a way that they are dominant. Dominant does not necessarily mean dangerous.
These men are barbaric. They gonna take your submission by hook or by crook, and it's mostly by crook. I'm just saying.
She's completely given up on the idea that she will get the kind of dude that she actually wants. So she's decided to talk about those men the way that she is behaving on this show. If she was to do that with the man that she actually wants, it would run counter to what men actually want, and that is peace and respect.
And I think I understand the frustration that men are experiencing when they are constantly being told that they're bad, they're unimportant, because women experience this for centuries. Women are too emotional, not equipped to get a bank account, not equipped to be in the workforce, not equipped to make decisions, way too hysterical. So these massive labels that were placed on us that limited us in some very real ways, because men have the power over women and have had the power of women for as long as this country has existed, we have experienced that. So in not wanting to recreate that same fault, because I'm going to say hegemonic men or men in general who subscribe to the idea of masculinity, where it's about economic power, status, and it's two ranges of emotions you're allowed to experience, which is apathy, nothing at all, or aggression. And this type of man is crisis prone.
Yes.
This type of man is a walking time bomb.
Yes.
And that is the kind of man whom, one, often is in places of power and stature.
Yeah.
So probably the ones who are pursuing you. Two, they tend to be the ones who are the loudest. They tend to be the leaders. That's why patriarchy exists, because this system of man is not good for their own mental health, for the safety of themselves or others, but it is good for dominance. And that's why they end up being the president of our country. So these type of men tend to be in position of power. They tend to be loud. And then even men who are not necessarily hegemonic in thinking tend to try to emulate those men because it appears they have everything that they would want. But those men don't.
Yeah.
So the idea that this kind of man is the man that we should be looking to, or the high value man, is the problem in itself.
It is ridiculous. I don't know where you have to get to in a point in your life where you understand that none of that matters. Of course.
You know where you have to go? To a park.
When
you see the
dick.
But when you see the kind of men who are fathering children, when you go to a workplace and you see the kind of men who are there in likely positions of cooperation, not always positions of power, but who are liked in the workplace, who have a network of friendships. When you go to a girlfriend's dinner party and you see who the boyfriends are, then you're like, the kind of man that we're marketed and told that we have to be is not the kind of man getting the things that I actually genuinely want in life. So I think that there is a shift happening. And for men who are online, which on YouTube, it tends to be more male viewers than women viewers, because men are lonelier, they have more free time. And men are desperately looking for companionship. They're looking for guidance. And they don't have a lot of men who are doing that for them.
Why are they looking at each other to like figure it out? Like it really is. No, it's the dumb leading the blind.
It's the dumb leading the blind, but women should look to women for support because we understand what it's like to be 5'2", walking around, like but our level of that. But we do, and we do it well.
Yes, we do.
And there's much you can learn when you stop hating that system and start actually reflecting on why it's working so well. And that's what I would just say to any man who is not hegemonic, who is supporting or trying to defend this system, take a closer look.
Yeah.
This is not all it's cracked up to be. And it actually never was.
This is where the accountability kind of comes into understanding, okay, so maybe patriarchy hasn't worked out for me as well as it have. Maybe my long-held beliefs need to be challenged. And if I don't know how to do that on my own, maybe I need a professional therapist to help me work through all of these things. If I'm depressed and I'm isolating myself, well, that's probably not the best thing that you could do for depression, is isolating yourself and feeling like you have nobody to talk to and feeling like, I can't tell my friends this. Why? Because our conversations are very surface level. Where's the deep level discussions where you can feel vulnerable in front of this man and feel like you've got a connection to somebody who can actually commiserate with you? That's really important. Commiseration is really, really important. It's not like, oh, everybody loves, everybody loving misery. It's just sometimes you have to get to that point where you have somebody where you can have those kinds of discussions with women. This is just what we do. We do it so naturally with each other. Men have to get to that point. You know, when we talk about masculine,
These witches, man.
Yeah, this is
these
go ahead, True.
man.
Go ahead, True.
This is what I don't like about these types of women, right? Okay, if y'all smart enough, I'm pretty sure you caught it. They can only digest and receive the men that they can ultimately control. Everything that they're spewing just sounds to me like they are trying to soften what is natural to most men. And it is very natural for most men to explore themselves in a way that they are dominant. Dominant does not necessarily mean dangerous necessarily, but to take away from the pursuit of aligning with your masculinity should be okay. As we've been trying to even explore that women want to explore certain avenues and whatnot. What is always interesting, I see you, Bo. What's always interesting is that they use this credit card and bank account example. All feminists do this crap, right? And they completely eliminate the fact that credit cards are not a male or female thing. They're a very new concept for most people because even men did not have credit cards until mid-century. So I don't understand this idea. On one hand, you want there to not be a certain place of power, but then you utilize things that represent power, like bank accounts and the ability to purchase, real estate and the ability to have your autonomy or whatever. So there's a lot of conflating contradictions in the narrative these witches are painting, and they do this a lot. We are not designed. I'm sorry, ladies. We're not designed to succumb to you the way you think we are. Whether y'all believe it or not, we are very much the leaders of this world. Now, that does not mean that we don't align and collaborate. But men were put on this earth to do what men are doing. And I think that the men that do it incorrectly, dangerously, toxically get too much attention. But we never take into account that most men are not carrying on this barbaric type of approach to living their lives. That's just not the typical man's agenda. But I see Bo making the expressions. I would love to hear her feedback.
I would just like to say, because listen, it's a lot of stuff that y'all say that I'm like, I cannot relate. So I am apparently not like a lot of women. Clearly, because the way y'all talk about women, I'm like, I can't relate to none of that. I want y'all to understand that y'all are not the typical men. Like, True, you're not the typical man. You know how I can have a conversation with you? I can ask you a question and you answer it honestly, and you don't ask me questions for like a gotcha moment so you can just make me look stupid. You're not the typical man. So let me tell you something. These men are barbaric. They gonna take your submission by hook or by crook, and it's mostly by crook. I'm just saying.
So you're saying this is overwhelmingly most men are that way?
Most men want to be like the men that they think are powerful and alluring to women. That men have made this thing up in their mind, what that man looks like, what that man acts like, and they perform masculinity. They perform being powerful. And yes, and those men that are performing this masculinity, not men who are true to themselves, not men who are just inherent leaders, the men who are just performing and putting this mask on, putting this suit on of being a man. Underneath that man suit, they are insecure, incompetent people who are going to beat women down so that they can stand over them and be like, I'm your leader. That's what they do. Absolutely. But I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think? Hold on. What was the question? Because you said something. Oh, so when you first started, you said something about Which I can't even remember. This fucking menopause brain. I'm gonna remember it in a minute.
He called them witches. That's what he said at first.
What?
He said these witches. He said these witches or something,
He didn't
something,
say
something.
witches.
Absolutely.
He did. No, he said. I'm gonna go back and listen. Hold on. I'm gonna go back and listen to it, and then I'll be back because I want to ask you a question. It was something very important.
Was it witches or heifers?
I said witches. I said it a couple times.
Listen, man.
Yeah, heifers was last week. They transferred from cows to flying on broomsticks. They graduated.
I like the word heifers, but it just don't flow off of me like that. I can't. I ain't got it. But if you 5'2",
that also goes to the dehumanizing a woman, right? Heifers, witches, right? Instead of calling them what they are.
I'm sure
that's what I'm saying. That hey, pay attention to your words.
If you don't like being 5'2" and walking around and feeling, uneasy, recognize reality and get you a man. Yeah, it's that simple.
All right.
We don't live in a perfect world where you're always going to be safe just because you are, the weaker vessel than a man. You need to be able to manipulate the environment with somebody else so you can feel more safe. Now, quite frankly, with her, I think I get what she's doing now. She's completely given up on the idea that she will get the kind of dude that she actually wants. So she's decided to talk about those men in a way that she knows she has no chance with them, especially a man that has sense and money, because the way that she is behaving on this show, if she was to do that with the man that she actually wants, it would run counter to what men actually want, and that is peace and respect. So she's essentially just throwing in a towel. She's being subbed out, and she recognizes it, and on the way out, she's going to throw a grenade. But the last thing I wanted to say is if there were no problems that they didn't want to talk about, but they want to constantly, this is what I want to say based on what True was talking about. True was kind of getting confused at the reason that they were constantly talking about problems, and it's because their conversations don't exist without them. They must have a problem or else there's nothing to talk about. So you create a labyrinth, a maze of its own self, so that way you could constantly come up with something to complain about, so you constantly have something to talk about. And an easy way to do that is to complain about not having equality. But the thing about the equality is they want it, but at the same time, they want to be protected from it. So as long as you want equality, you can complain about it. But when you get it, you can actually say that's not fair. So they'll never run out of things to talk about or complain about. And so that's what she's relegated herself to just being in the complaining section, which is like being subbed out in the game and going to the bench.
Okay. You said that women want to control men. Okay, what does that mean?
I think inherently in every woman, you guys are designed to dismantle what you can't ultimately control. So even the appeal of singularity is a state of control. It is to say that I do not have to arrive at sharing my space, as sharing my energy or anything. That is a state of control. Nothing wrong with that, because humans alike, we do have that. But I think in women, it's more pronounced. So basically, when you guys, and I've said this, a woman around a man, she defaults to secondary. That doesn't mean less valuable. It just is the way that the design is. So the only way I think these women, like the witches I was referring to, they're now trying to attack what is natural for us. Our natural state is leader. Our natural state is leader, especially in a relationship capacity. So when they're saying like, well, don't be like this type of men, don't be the dangerous, the combative, they can only receive men who show up like male looking, but are, for lack of a better term, the yes men. And I think that their agenda is overwhelmingly, I think their agenda is overwhelmingly trying to push that it is okay. Like, I'll tell you something real quick and I'll pass it. I never seen men walking around holding women's purses. And now that's like a thing. Like, young boys do it too. They be at the mall and they carry these women's purses. It is the most aggravating thing for me to see, because I'm like, why are you carrying her purse?
Because it's heavy.
Then bring a smaller purse, or don't bring a purse at all. Like, but I understand. But again, I consider myself very masculine. I would instruct my woman, look, if you can't haul it, don't bring it, because you're not about to task me with carrying it. And so I think that these type of women are the ones that are very much saying, look, you can be male when it benefits us, but how dare you assert yourself for your natural state? How dare you be who God created you to be? And so, yes, I think women at the depth of them are working overtime to control, diminish, minimize, and remove the very value that every man innately has.
But at the same time, they will then naturally say, that's what I'm attracted to. I want a man to take me and shake me. I want a man to show me, blah, 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 blah. They will only ask for something, and then when they get it, complain about it, because they want to be able to keep complaining about stuff.
Well, I got one question before we close out. I was raised that men shouldn't be touching purses, never carrying a purse, but we really shouldn't even be touching a woman's purse. But Sherrod, I see you made a face when you said that. Why did you make that face?
Because they literally got a genre of man purses. Men are going out there and buying their own purse.
Hey, we don't co-sign that shit neither.
No, we ain't co-signing that. We ain't co-signing that.
Oh shit, that's awesome. But